G'day there guys. Had a recent request from Don McLean to explain the story on these two bikes. I purchased this green Yamaha 750 TX back in late 72, just after the Castrol 6 hour, where I think only 3 of them finished. And because of back in those times there was no radars around, so there was no speed limits, I lived out in the country where it was very hot, and I rode this bike probably harder than what it could handle. The reason was my mate had a K1 Honda 4 just like this one here, which is mine also, and it didn't seem to worry about the heat one bit. When I got the Yamaha, riding the Yamaha as I was back then, I don't think it lasted any more than 3 months, and the motor was not good. I got it fixed up once, and then they put the mods on it, the oil cooler, the deep sump and the chain adjuster and things, but I think when they put that on, the motor wasn't in the best of condition. But yeah, I kept it till about 1975, and then I gave it to my brother. He paid the last couple of payments, and because he did have a K1 Honda 4 that had been written off in an accident, he ended up deciding to put the Honda 4 motor in it, which was done probably back in 75, 6. It didn't take too much. We took it to an engineering shop to do it. The bike started off as a 750. At the moment here now it's bored to 900 with two 40mm Del Autos on there, which are very easy on the throttle and then very good. I've got them sorted out. Yeah, the motor's fitting in there quite good. It's all Yamaha there except for the motor. Everything else is Yamaha. I had taken the struts off the front because the exhaust pipes, if I have that rear strut on, it will hit those pipes. Yeah, so he ended up with the bike, did this to it, kept it going for a few years. He had troubles with the Honda motor then because he didn't have air cleaners on it and rode around Australia, and there was a lot of dirt roads back in those days, so hence the motor wasn't best. In the meantime, in 1979, he purchased a CBX 1000 Honda, and this bike just got left sitting at my mum's house in Chinchilla. Must have sat there for 15 years, and he took it up to his place up in Moranbah, where it sat till about 2005, and I went up and picked it up and brought it home and got it going, cleaned it all up, painted it again. In the meantime, I was in Chinchilla there where I used to live, and this engine here, which is the original engine out of that bike, a mate of mine I'd met years ago now, but he said to me, you know where that old engine of yours is out of your TX? And I said, in the dump, I'm sure. He said, no, I've got it, I've taken it home and I've had it there. I was going to put it in a go-kart, but never did. And then he said, if you want it, come and get it. So I picked it up, took it back to Brisbane, here where I live. Wasn't going to do anything with it. I just looked at it for a couple of years. Didn't know what to do with it, and found from the local bike shop that a guy bought a TX 750 in Canberra. So I told the bike shop owner to tell this guy that he's probably going to need a spare engine. So I sold this to Dusty down in Canberra, who bought this TX that was in the bike shop here in Brisbane, and he took it back. He had the bike that he bought for a couple of years, didn't touch my engine, this old engine here of mine, and he ended up selling that bike to Paul Sackler, which is called Kermit now, and he gave this old engine of mine that did not look like that one. I gave it to Dusty. He gave it to Garry Hocking, and Garry has since fixed it up, bought it to 820, got a cam, I think he said, got these flat side carbs on it. It's running beautifully. It's a beautiful bike to ride. I've got it here because I rode it back from halfway to Sydney there a couple of weeks ago, when Gary's taken my bike down to do a balance chain on my TX 750A, which is that green one you would have seen. And I'm going to be riding it back halfway to Sydney next week to meet up with Garry. I'm also trying to get my brother to ride this Yamaha TX with the Honda motor in it back down, but not quite sure whether he will come and ride with me. But that's the story of these two bikes. It's amazing to think that they're both back together. The engine's back here near it, and they both go very nicely now. Thank you very much. Hope this explains to people what's the story behind these two bikes. Bye.